Welcome to Conversations with Educators. I'm your host, Jerome Ellison, and today I have a special and returning guest, Queinnise Miller. Thank you, Queinnise, for coming back on the show.
I'm so excited to be here, Jerome.
Happy to have you. So, besides being the great author of the book, The Art of Giving a Shit, what other roles have you had in education?
Definitely I appreciate being an author, but I've done everything in education. I have been a teacher from the kindergarten at the kindergarten level all the way to the high school, 12th grade, senior level, Spanish teacher, bilingual teacher. I've been an ESL teacher, and then I had the wonderful privilege, honor to go into leadership. And so I've been an assistant principal, a director, at the central office level for leadership, and a senior manager at the central office level. And so now I am a professor actually at the University of Houston Clear Lake, where I get a chance to support and build future educators as well as, but more importantly, future leaders, right? So I've literally been from pre-K all the way to the doctoral level in education. So you can't miss me, Jerome. You can't miss me on no level.
I love that. So you've seen the entire spectrum. You're a perfect person to talk about this topic. So AI in schools is a hot topic everywhere. AI is a hot topic everywhere, but specifically in schools. And you've
Yeah.
seen it all throughout the year. So I'm interested in seeing what you think about this topic. So I want to play a quick game with you. It's called Hopes, Fears, and Ideas all around AI in schools.
Amen.
Ready?
Cool. I'm
All
ready.
right. So let's start with your hopes and fears on AI in school. What are those?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my hopes, right? So what my hope is around AI is that the adults, right, do not, the adults will embrace AI. The adults will put down our fears, our restrictions, our walls, our barriers, this is how we've always done it. This is what school should look like. That the adults will get on the page that we need to get on, and specifically leadership, right? Because it all starts there. And so that the children that we are serving today, are going to be able to learn to operate, to navigate this new world of AI. We don't serve the same children. And so I think that a lot of times we as adults, we actually limit and inhibit children's growth, development, their ability to do amazing things because of our own limitations, right? So my hope is that that happens. And I'm going to take that hope to the next level. Specifically, my hope is that it doesn't happen in school districts or in communities that are less affluent, right?
Mhm.
Because in the affluent districts, in the affluent schools, you guarantee you that they are going to be learning, moving, having systems in their schools, et cetera, that are driven by AI. And if we, as a community that serves economically disadvantaged, culturally diverse, and students and children, if we are not keeping up with that, then it is going to widen the gap that already exists
Mm,
between our babies and those babies that are less affluent and those that are not.
I love
So that's
that.
my hope.
I love that. I hope so too. I hope so too. I always say this that,
Hope so
you
too.
know, there's always a way. There's been so many different, advancements in the world, and I feel like a lot of times, a lot of our school system moves so slowly that our students end up being
Mhm.
behind the eight ball because by the time they start getting exposed to it, they're playing catch up. So
They
I
playing catch up,
play catch
absolutely.
up,
And it's never the students. It's not them.
No,
They're not the issue.
no.
It's the grown people.
Yeah, because our students are using it, and they just need the support and guidance to know how to apply it to the real world, and to put them in good position to be successful in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're gonna really like my idea when I give it to you.
Mm. Yes. So how
My
about fears?
fear,
Before we get to ideas, the fears.
my fear. Um, while AI is amazing and it definitely can advance anything that you do, right? In my business, I'm beginning to use more AI because it's like as a creator, as a writer, like I want to just make it myself. However, like just learning how to leverage those tools to not necessarily create for me, but to like support me in my research that I do for my writing, right? I'm currently writing a new book, Jerome, called
Nice,
Lead with Love.
nice,
Um, and I'm going to make sure that when it comes out that, you're the number one person, but that gets it. I may give you the exclusive,
nice.
but it's called Lead with Love, 8 Heart-Centered Strategies for Exceptional Leadership. But
Mm.
you leveraging it for research there. But anyway, let me get to my fear because I can go on and on. My fear is that the use of AI will not take away the need for us as educators to address the emotional, social, and mental health of children, right? The emotional, social, and mental health of teachers. See, you're in leadership now, so you understand that before we can actually address that with children, we got to make sure our teachers are well, our teachers are whole, our teachers are loved, our teachers are supported, our teachers are that, and that's a difficult transition to make, but in leadership, it's critical, right? And the same goes for the leaders in schools, right? I'm a firm believer that leaders need love too, right? So, who is responsible for doing that for leaders? So, leaders can do that for teachers, and teachers can now be full to be able to give that work, that support, that love, that care, that compassion to children. And so, that is my fear that like we won't get so AI-ish,
Mm.
right? That we forget the humanity, right? In this work, the humanity, because children, teachers, adults, people are hurting, and people need a certain level of compassion and love that I don't believe AI will be able to fully support.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will be my fear. That will be my fear. That
That's
that we
interesting. Yeah, because
that
AI is so data driven and number driven and analytical driven, and the emotions, the empathy, the
yeah,
care sometimes can go missing in that algorithm.
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. Is
so
there an algorithm for that? I'm not sure.
there isn't. There isn't. There's no algorithm to leadership. There's no algorithm to teaching. It's
There's
something
no
hard. You
algorithm.
can't really measure
Absolutely.
that with
There's no algorithm to relationship. And if you read my book, I know you read my
Yep,
book.
I did.
That is the magic sauce, right? It's the relationships that we build with children, the relationships we build with teachers. And yeah, I don't know that there's an algorithm for that yet anyway. But do I believe that if we actually support this work around AI, that the children that we serve are not, they're so amazing and genius, they could potentially create an algorithm for it. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know how dangerous that is, but people be finding their love through the computer, through a robot, baby.
I know. So that's one idea. So let's move to ideas. What are some other ideas you have in terms of AI in schools?
So it's funny. My idea is this, right? I am all about gradual release and having a balance, right? So what I think we should do is in every single school, in every single community right across the world,
Mhm.
that we incorporate like days or weeks that are AI driven, right? That everything we do within this week or this time is going to be driven by AI, right? So that you kind of have this mix and this balance of traditional teaching and this, AI teaching, right? But more importantly, I think it should be led by students because, like you just said, they already know what to do. Like they were born with AI at their fingertips. These are not the same children. They're not. They're smarter than us. They've got more information. They are socially more advanced than we ever were. Everywhere. I just had a conversation with one of my a lady in IT at my university, and we were talking about her son, and he's 8 years old, and she's like talking about how somehow some people, some of the kids in his class got his number and they FaceTime and they chat and they do all these things, and she's like, I listen to them and they don't sound like they're 8, and I was like, because they're not 8.
Hmm.
An 8-year-old today is not the same 8-year-old 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They are socially more advanced. They're technologically more advanced. They are very intelligent because everything is at their fingertips. So what do you do with that? Let them lead. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You let them lead, you foster leadership. And so they are the people that are driving what is it that they want to do. But see, what that takes is, Jerome, is
Mm-hmm.
an adult to ask the question,
Yeah.
to let go of control, and to help facilitate their thinking, their desires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is that most school districts, and I'm not, please do not quote me on this necessarily, but as it relates to resources, technological resources, it's not as difficult for schools to have access to technology and information and programming and things like that. There's funding for it, there's grants for it, there's like all of this money. So I don't know that, because before I believe it was getting the resources. But one good thing that came from COVID is
Mm-hmm.
COVID just like catapulted our ability to have access
Mm-hmm.
to technology,
Mm-hmm.
period, dot. And so it's not that, it's just our willingness to let go of the control and to allow our students to guide their own learning, to guide their own um, experiences with AI in school. So that
Yeah.
would be cool.
Yeah, I
Because
love
they're
that.
like the alpha and beta generation, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, what does that even mean, alpha and beta? I just feel like, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
we've gotta get connected, and we've gotta up our level of innovation, but more importantly, we've got to loosen the reins and
Yeah.
let them lead.
Yeah, and work more collaboratively with the students and make it more inquiry based. Like you said, we always worry about engagement and students and our learning and our teaching. How about allowing them to tell us
Ask
what they want to explore, especially with AI?
Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Absolutely. I talk about that in my book, actually, about giving children choice, letting them decide. And I think we're afraid. We're afraid to do that. We're afraid to let go. And what you resist persists, right?
Hmm.
What you resist persists. And so we need to let go. We need to let it go, and kind of and support them because even though this generation, they are more advanced in certain ways, they do still need guidance on how to navigate relationships, how to navigate when they have problems, because they do hide a lot behind
Hmm.
their technology, their social media, and things like that. They are not as emotionally intelligent to be able to deal with things. So they need us. They need us. They need us. We need them. We are one. And I love the word that you said. Like, we've got to better collaborate with our children, collaborate with who they are, because that's when magic happens, Jerome. That's
Yeah.
when magic.
Great point. And I think for educators who are worried about AI taking their job, I think to our earlier point, you can't take some of the qualities and things that educators bring to the field, right? But I do think we have to be clear about what are those qualities, those emotional, those social
Absolutely.
things, and push more of that in teachers,
Yeah,
and then allow the students to do what they need to do with AI and to bring those together, and make a
absolutely.
better
Absolutely.
partnership.
There's a school in Austin that I just learned about. And it is, and I'll send it to you, but it's basically a school that is that is driven by AI, right? And so it's like this 2 hour learning where children are only engaged in learning for 2 hours. I'm like, that is different, right? But
Yeah.
they're only engaged in learning for 2 hours based on the research of how much time that children are able to actually bring in new information, right? But the rest of the time is spent not learning, but learning in different ways, learning kinesthetically, learning around like, how do you become a speaker, what are some of the
Mhm.
skills of speaking, like learning. It's kind of like a whole child approach. But long
Mhm.
story short, my point is, their learning, it's all through AI. Their actual instruction is through AI, right?
Mhm.
And so, but they hire facilitators,
Mhm.
right? Because you have to have people to support the facilitation of it. But more importantly, they hire them to be encouragers. They
Mhm.
hire them to be motivators. They hire them to say, like, you got this, you can do this.
Mhm.
They hire them to do that human work, right? that is necessary. And so like that's a real good example of a good balance, I think, of understanding. So yeah, like people that are worried about AI taking their jobs, to be honest with you, let me be real honest with you, Jerome, because you know I'm gonna keep it
I know
real.
you always do.
Sometimes, and some teachers need AI to come help them teach because everybody is not teaching with the level of excellence in which children deserve,
Mm,
period, dot. And
mm,
they doing what they want to do and how they want to do it, and they're being a disservice to children.
mm.
Some people, a robot needs to teach the kids because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You don't want to do no true, real,
Yeah.
back planning lesson to make sure that children are thinking critically. If
Mm,
you're not gonna make them think critically, then what is gonna make them think critically? Because now is the time where them not thinking critically is not an option. So either
mm.
you're gonna do it or we'll get AI to do it. Pick one.
Couldn't say that better, man. All right, before we get off, any final words or thoughts for policymakers, educators, leaders, anyone in the field of education around AI? Any final words for them?
Around AI, I would just say no matter where you sit in this work, remember that we always have to do what's best for children and not what's convenient for adults. We need to make sure that our agendas stay locked in and loaded on love. And that is through the actions, what we say, what we do, more importantly, what we do for children. And so they are counting on us. Children are counting on us to be their advocates, to be their voices, and to ensure that we do whatever it is, whatever is needed by any means necessary for them to have an exceptional world-class experience in schools today. So thank you. And I so appreciate you and congratulations to you and all that you're doing. And don't forget to hashtag lead with love, Jerome, because love is all we need.
That's the way. Thank you, Queinnise. I appreciate that. And as soon as I get the link to your book, Lead with Love, I'm going to put it in the description just so everyone who's watched can get it.
Absolutely. And if you get a chance, go to my website, queinnise.com, and just kind of see some things that are going on there. And yeah, if you need anything, Jerome, I'm here for you anytime.
I know. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.